What scientific breakthrough are we closer to than most people realize? Insanely effective cancer treatments. Cell therapy is absolutely crazy and it's available for a fair few diseases. A cure for HIV seems to be on the horizon. Some scientists managed to cut it out of cells using CRISPR last year. I have a lot of family that works in different pharma companies. We were recently discussing that there is a very promising treatment for Alzheimer's in the works that could stop the progression of the disease and maybe reverse some of the brain damage. It's still in testing phase and wouldn't be on the market for years, but it's something that would be awesome to be able to use. Genetic editing. I think we'll soon see news of experimental gene therapy treatments for cancer, diabetes, and perhaps Alzheimer's, CRSPR9 and all. The next logical step would be designer babies, a nuclear fusion reaction that sets a new record for duration or temperature. Brain-computer interface. I worked on one 10 years ago. It barely worked, but you could see the potential. However, a few weeks ago, someone played a 6-hour Civilization 6 session using only their brain, treating depression with neuromodulation therapy instead of medications. Stanford is heavily involved in clinical trials using their SAINT treatment. I'm looking forward to a day when I don't need medication to stop me from wanting to die. I'm on antidepressant number 7 or 8 at this point, and finding one that works, doesn't make me manic, doesn't kill my libido, and doesn't make me gain weight is impossible. Currently taking vilazodone, which isn't too bad, but probably not as efficacious as it should be. I will say that after years of missing Frisson, I'm finally back to getting those goosebumps whenever I listen to music that hits just so. My doc thought this was unusual, but super cool. My doc is also very supportive of me perusing that clinical trial. The coolest part is that if you're in the placebo group, they will give you the real therapy after the trial is over. A technological leap forward in battery storage capacity, cheaper and lighter weight. This will have the biggest impact on everyday life. Synthetic biology. Shit's gonna get weird real soon. Early diagnosis and treatment of Parkinson's, I think. I've been following a story for a few years now of a woman who could smell Parkinson's and is now working with researchers to turn her weird, unique ability into an early screening test. Earthquake warning system of about 2 hours. Permanent GPS antennas are located all over the world and more densely at fault zones. About a year ago, geologists found that if they stacked all historical GPS data proximal to large earthquakes, they saw there is a very small acceleration of the surface about 2 hours before the actual earthquake. We are literally only missing the technology to make even more precise GPS measures, so we can do this in real time on singular regions. It is proven that this is an actual thing that happens, and we can literally warn of earthquakes with a significant time span. And the land movement is so subtle that only by lumping all the data together did the precursor stand out, Blettery says. If you just remove 1 or 2 quakes, you still see it, he says. But if you remove half, it's hard to see. This is not a solution or has saved any lives, but it is an absolutely staggering discovery that will have an insane focus in the upcoming years. Understanding how hormones and mental illness are linked, especially in women who previously were diagnosed with mental illness, but who had endocrine disorders. And to add, menopause. In response to the Lancet's awful claim of over-medicalization, scores of researchers the world over have doubled down to learn more. Growing transplantable organs. This is rather an engineering issue, but a lot of scientists are working on this as well. RGB microLED displays. We can currently build fairly efficient blue and green microLEDs from indium gallium nitride, but the red ones are missing. Red LEDs have been available for much longer than their blue counterparts, but we currently cannot make them small enough for a high PPI display. Many researchers and companies are trying to get the red ones working with several different approaches, and I believe we will see the first commercial applications starting from smartwatches, smartphones, and AR/VR goggles within the next 5 years. Quantum computing. It can solve complex problems in seconds that would take conventional computers millennia. Artificial intelligence in medicine and surgery. We have already started using it. It's just a matter of time when healthcare will be dominated by it. With the LIGO Space Telescope, We are learning far more about our universe that the Hubble's Visible Light Telescope could not capture. It is not like what we thought in enormous ways. These changes will matter. I expect a lot more cancer vaccines coming out. If cancer numbers are reduced, the need for therapies are reduced too. Hamburger earmuffs.